Hi, welcome to a new video. I'm here today to do the mid-year freak-out tag in the middle of the year, obviously, as the title suggests. I have never done this before, but on my Notion, I prepared a whole page with all the questions and the answers, so hopefully I won't babble too much, as we know I do. Let's get right into it. The first question is, what was the best book you've read so far this year? I loved a lot of books this year, but the top one is uncontested, and that is A Psalm for the Wild-Built by Becky Chambers. This book was exactly what I wanted it to be. It had such amazing cozy vibes and cottagecore vibes. Characters were amazing. The plot was interesting. It talked about amazing, super relevant and contemporary conversations that we all need to be having nowadays. It talked about all of those things in a very hopeful way. All around 5 stars. Amazing, perfect. Everyone should read it. Just one thing, don't expect this to be fast-paced, plot-based book. It's not. But yes, I guess first question answered. Definitely A Psalm for the Wild-Built was the best book I've read so far this year. The best sequel that I've read so far this year, that is also easy to answer. They're 2 books. They're not really sequels as in the second book to a series. They're much farther on. I read both of these on Audible, actually. The first one is The Sun and the Star by Riordan, obviously. And then also A Rake of His Own by A.J. Lancaster. Both kind of completely different from each other, but both gay romances, weirdly. I mean, The Sun and the Star is considered middle grade, which I find quite strange. I would consider it YA. But either way, A Rake of His Own is adult. So, different genres, but definitely both the best sequels of this year so far. I can't really tell much about any of those. The Sun and the Star is obviously like the 16th book or 17th book in the Percy Jackson world. And then A Rake of His Own is the 5th book. It's a kind of spin-off book from the Sariel series. And I have talked about these 2 multiple times in videos and vlogs recently. I'm not going to get too much into it. The third question is, new release that you haven't read yet, but you want to. That's an interesting one because actually this year there haven't been that many books that I'm super interested in. At the start of the year, I had a little list and nothing really changed. Some of these books have come out and I've read them. Some I haven't read yet. There's not a lot of new releases that are coming out now that I really want to get to. The one that's kind of calling out that I don't have yet, that would be Fourth Wing, because everyone is reading it and I'm just curious about it. I want to know what has gotten everyone so excited about this book or hating it. This is definitely high up on my TBR, but I still have to actually purchase the book first. We'll see when I actually get to it. I did actually see in Waterstones the other day Mortal Follies, which sounds quite interesting. It's a historical fiction queer romance with fae involved. Sounds right up my street. So that is definitely also in the running for new releases that I haven't read yet, but want to. Question 4. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. That has to be Never a Hero. Never a Hero is the second one from the Only a Monster series by Vanessa. I read this book maybe 2 months ago. It has an element that I really don't like, which is time travel. I feel like the synopsis of the book doesn't actually explain what the book is about, but weirdly, it captivated me, and I want to see, and like the end was kind of explosive, and it makes me want to get the second one right away. But obviously it's not out yet. It only comes out in August, so I am suffering, trying to contain myself, not wondering what is going to be happening basically every single day. I'm trying, okay? I'm struggling, but I'm trying. But yes, moving on to the fifth question, and that is the biggest disappointment of the year. I definitely have an answer for this, and that is that time I got drunk and saved a demon. I was so excited. Everyone had been kind of reading it for the past months up to a year and was saying amazing things about it. And so I was really hopeful I was gonna love it. I liked the start, and then it just spiraled. I mean, I feel like it needed to be a longer book so we could have time with the characters, developing them, their relationship, and the plot of the story, instead of being just kind of like, we're here 1 minute, and at the other side of the world in the next minute. Things are happening so fast. They felt a bit too rushed and a bit too steamy for me personally. Definitely the biggest disappointment of the year. Next question, the biggest surprise. I will have to give it to The Whispering Dark. So, the synopsis intrigued me, but I don't think the book was what I was expecting from reading the synopsis. But also, I ended up loving it, even though the themes and the way the story was going wasn't really to my taste. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting to love it, and I did. We're getting to the seventh question now. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? These are definitely new to me authors. I have two just because they're different in different categories. So first one is AJ Lancaster. She wrote the Sariel series, which is a cozy fantasy series, kind of historical and romance, mixes fae with kind of Bridgerton vibes. It's all encompassing, lovely series, and I really enjoyed. As I said, I've read a few cozy fantasy books, and I think personally, this is the style I enjoy. And actually, the other author is from the same setup. It's Olivia Atwater. She also writes cozy fantasy historical romance. And I was also very surprised by her book and by how much I loved it. I definitely want to read more of her books. While AJ Lancaster, I basically started from the first one and did not stop. I read her whole backlist of books, her 5 books, the 4 main series, and then the spin-off, which is basically one of my favorite books of the year. And then I read Olivia Atwater. I only read Half a Soul, but it was so good that I think it made her my favorite author in the way that I want to read all her books now. So I'm excited to get to them in the near future. Go away, bugs. Go away. Question number 8. New fictional crush. I don't really have fictional crushes. I'm the type of person that I love to see people together. I don't want to be with them. I want them to be with each other. And so I selected a few books that I think I just love the main characters together so much. Like, I constantly think of them being happy in their own little universe, and I'm gonna mention those. One of my favorite 2 characters that ended up together in the whole world is Elizabeth and Nathaniel from Sorcery of Thorns, which is obviously one of my favorite books of all time. I think they're so perfect together. And yeah, the other ones that I really love are obviously our perfect boys from The Sun and the Star. Don't want to really give many spoilers. If you haven't read Percy Jackson, don't go looking for The Sun and the Star synopsis or even the cover. But yes, love them to bits. Also, just a very good pairing that I thought picked up the kind of Howl's Moving Castle vibes, but it gave us an actual start of a romance that hopefully will continue to bloom in later installments of the series. And that is the couple from Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, obviously Emily and Wendell. Oh my god, I want to see where it goes. I really love them. And yeah, I think Wendell is just the most ridiculous, brilliant creature. And I think Emily is just perfect for him and brings a bit of balance. Wendell brings the fun, quirky side, and Emily brings stability and a bit of grumpiness, which is also very funny. So yeah, I think they're amazing. Question number 9 is my newest favorite character. This is way too difficult. If I like a character, honestly, I don't care about the plot of the book. I have Nina from The Beautiful Ones. She was just so true to herself all the time, even when it was kind of very frowned upon for her to be doing certain things and in her specific position in life, but she still just went for what she wanted and what she needed from life. And she thrived. So really love her, wanna be her. Obviously, again, Elizabeth from Sorcery of Thorns, she is the perfect combination of studious and badass. And then my favorite, just cinnamon bun character, MARIUS VALSTAR. He's from the Stariel series and he is one of the main characters from A Rake of His Own. And he's just such a soft, studious boy that just loves his plants and wants to spend all his days in his greenhouse. It's just so lovely. Oh my god. I don't even know what else to say. I love them all to bits. That's the end of question number 9. A book that made you cry. I have two ends of the spectrum here. I have Divine Rivals, which is a story about war and love blooming in a time of war. So the back says, 2 rivals, 2 stories, 2 hearts, 1 fate. It definitely made me cry at different points for different reasons. It made me really emotional in the best way possible. This is a brilliant book. Highly recommend. That's all I have to say. Next one, in a kind of other end of the spectrum, but also The Sun and the Star. I cannot say spoilers, but they're lovely. It's just such a nice relationship and they're really working very hard to be healthy boyfriends to each other, to support each other and just be happy, I guess. I love that. It made me cry from happiness and from just a little bit of sadness here and there from what they were going through as in their adventure, in their quest, but also in their relationship and just personally within themselves. Loved it. Loved it. Continuing on, we have book that made me happy. I guess you know what the first answer is. The Sun and the Star, obviously. Secondly, again, obviously, A Rake of His Own. The 2 best sequels I've read so far this year. They were 2 of my favorite books of the year and they made me cry, but they also made me really happy. But now for a real answer, Half a Soul. Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. It was just such a good book. And it made me happy. I also put in here Love Theoretically, because I have to say, any Ali Hazelwood book, they just make me happy. I get excited when there's a new Ali Hazel book out because I know I'm gonna have a good time reading it. And I always do. I normally can't really put them down. It's just such a nice time. So yeah, that definitely made me happy. And I wanted to give a different answer from The Sun and the Star and A Rake of His Own, because that's basically all I've been answering. for all of these questions. Ooh, this one is exciting. The most beautiful book that I've acquired this year. And for that, I brought FLOWERHEART because, first of all, look at this cover. Back is nice. Actually, I wanted to show you mostly the inside because, first of all, look at that side. But it's speckled. It's like recycled paper. How lovely is that? I saw it at Forbidden Planet in London and I had to immediately get it. It was £2 off. So it immediately came home with me. The other one I selected are these amazing special editions of the Margaret Rogerson books from FAERIES. Look at these. They have gold edges all the way around and little bookmarks, and they match. Look how lovely that is! Oh my god, I love them so much. I'm gonna show them to you. So for Sorcery of Thorns, which is one of my favorite books ever, it says, knowledge always has the potential to be dangerous. It is a more powerful weapon than any sword or spell. And our Margaret, she is a pro with a sword and also knowledge. So she's the whole package. And look at those end papers. We have Margaret, and then we have our two other favorite characters ever. And inside there's not really any illustrations, but there's a map. And there's also a signature. Now, Enchantment of Ravens, at the back it says, 1 raven for uncertain peril, 6 for danger sure to arrive, 12 for death if not avoided. The enchantment is sealed. We then have same illustrator, obviously different characters, and our love interest looking all moody in the back. No maps, but obviously the signature. Those are my 3 most beautiful books of this year. I mean, there are so many special and amazing special editions. The Whispering Dark is lovely, but I didn't actually get it this year. 13th question, almost the last one. We have what books you need to read before the end of the year. Obviously, the most anticipated releases that I've talked about in the beginning, which were the Chalice of the Gods, Percy Jackson story, and the Never the Hero by Vanessa. We also then have the 2 new releases that I mentioned, which were The Fourth Wing and Mortal Follies. I do want to continue a few series that I'm in the middle of, and that is the second book for the NATHANIEL love story series, also the second book of the Tween Crown series, and the last book for Shadow and the Fox, which I've started 2 years ago and I still haven't read the last book. But also, obviously, want to read more of Olivia Atwater's books, because it's what I said in my answer to my favorite authors. My new favorite authors of this year. I've been kind of trying to make my way through Silvia Moreno Garcia's books and F.T. Lucan's books as well. So that's a whole bunch of books. It's question number 13 and I want to read 13 books. Last question, finally. Hopefully this wasn't boring or too overwhelming. I'm sweating. It's so hot here. My fan says it's 30 degrees in here, so I'm a bit unhappy and I just want to finish this video. The last question is just talk about some content creators that you've been loving. And I have a few staples that I always go back to, and those are Carrie from Carrie Can Read, then Morgan Long, she does the most inspiring cozy vlogs you have ever seen. I also have Reagan from Peruse Project. She's a staple fantasy reader that I've been following for years. Alexandra Roslin, she is just such a bubbly personality. I love listening to her talk, honestly. And then we have Melina Souza from Tea with Mel. This is technically a Brazilian content creator, but I have been following her for 10 years now. Actually, I think this year makes it 10 years. So definitely wanted to shout it out. One of my favorite content creators ever. And that's about it. I have answered all 14th questions. I am sweating from places I didn't know I could. And so I have read exactly 50 books this year. My goal was to read 60. So I'm definitely making my goal. I may bump it up to 80 depending on how it's going in the next month or so. That is definitely the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun doing this. It was good to kind of look back on my year and predict what I want to be reading for the future. So see you next time. Hope you have a nice day. Bye!